Hello, my name is Carolos Thompson. I am the Assistant Professor of Church and Community Theology, the Director of the Friendship House Community, and the Director of the Friendship House Fellows Program here at Western Theological Seminary. Today I'd like to invite us to step back into a familiar narrative that many of us know in St. Matthew's Gospel and St. Mark's Gospel as simply when Jesus walks on water. Now, if we pick up the narrative, in verse 28, after Jesus has already identified himself, after being misidentified by the disciples as a ghost, Jesus simply says, "It's me, don't be afraid." And Peter's response is, beginning in verse 28 of St. Matthew's 14th chapter, "If it is really you, Lord, then command me to come out to you on the water." And Jesus simply does what commentators have said is repackage Peter's original call that he received from Jesus on the beach. Instead of saying, "Come follow me and I will make you fishers of people," Jesus simply says, "Come." And Peter, perhaps in recognizing the voice of his Lord, the one who gives purpose and identity and calls all that is into being from nothing, says, "Come." And Peter steps over the wall of the boat and begins to walk on the water toward Jesus. And then in verse 30 it says, "But when Peter saw the wind, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried out, 'Lord, save me.'" Now, commentators have debated back and forth precisely what is happening here. Some commentators will say simply Peter is doubting Jesus, and that's why Jesus responds by scooping Peter up, rescuing Peter, immediately responding, and then utters the words, "Why do you doubt?" But other commentators have said, no, if we read the narrative as a whole, we begin to see that Peter's response, "Lord, save me," is not Peter doubting Jesus, because he's recognizing the same Jesus that he said, "If it's really you, call me out." Instead, Peter is doubting his own identity as one who is truly called by Jesus and can do that which he's called to do by Jesus. And so Peter is not doubting Jesus, rather he's doubting himself as one who is called by Jesus, has his identity in Jesus, and can do that which he's been called to do by Jesus. That is the crux of what's happening here. Now, if that's the case, then Jesus' response, "Peter, why do you doubt?" is profound. One commentator says, if we read this that way, then the response, "Peter, why do you doubt?" is, why do you doubt that you are who I say you are? Why do you doubt that you can do that which I've called you to do? And in this moment, then, we would expect rebuke to be the response, but instead, the text says, if we read the remaining part of the narrative, "O you of little faith, why did you doubt?" And when they got into the boat together, the wind ceased. Jesus walks arm in arm back to the boat with Peter and says, "Why did you doubt?" And they step into the boat, and the very circumstances that caused this instability cease. And all who witness this, they see the revealed person of Christ. They see the goodness and the sovereignty of the presence of Christ. And they see that in the midst of the storm, identity isn't necessarily removed at all, but clarified as one who is called. And they worship Jesus and say, "Truly you are the Son of God." Could it be that this is a gracious reminder from the Gospels that in the moments of life when our boat is rocked and everything around us seems blurry and the identity of that which we thought we understood is a bit uncertain? Jesus, one we know well, looks more like a ghost, perhaps. Our identity as one who's called by Christ seems a little shaky. In those moments, we cry out to the Lord, "Lord, save me," and follow, and Jesus immediately responds and rescues. And the result is revelation for all who witness, for the good of the kingdom and the glory of God. Be blessed.